Tracking manager performance. A similar spreadsheet can be used to help identify high waste areas in a manager's job. One reason that we don't measure managers by the minute is that the processes they are responsible for do not have very short cycle times. For example, when a person is packing 70 bottles per minute carefully into a packing case, inspecting the bottle for 7 types of defects as it moves from the conveyor into the box, you need to break the job down at the tenths of a second or less level. A meeting, however, might take an hour to complete. This one meeting cycle of 60 minutes does contain some waste, just as there is some waste in the 3.5 minutes per day that's spent processing an incoming email. The debate should not be whether there were 38 minutes of meeting waste or 39 minutes. The difference is not significant nor the point. We should be looking at taking meeting waste down to the 1% level, 36 seconds out of 60 minutes. If we start to waste time, we stop. We adjust. The difference in perspectives that can be adopted here is staggering. I've worked both in a corporate office job and a plant manager frontline job. I've been held accountable for consistently staying below 1% waste levels on the operations side, but allowed a higher percentage of waste on the upper management side. I bring this up to point out the opportunity that exists for both cost savings, but more importantly, time that can be reinvested in a more value-added manner. The goal of using the above spreadsheet is not to manage the manager down to the minute. I have found that completing the home expense budget teaches you a lot, and just like completing that budget for the first time, once a manager sees how they are consistently spending their time in the wrong places, they will personally take action to begin addressing that time waste. The evidence is needed to shock them out of the prevailing culture and to show them there might be benefits to doing things a little bit differently. Reducing email waste. People often spend 2 to 3 hours per day on email. Use specific subject lines. Include the action type required. Use distribution lists effectively. Don't use reply all as a habit. Clearly define when email should be used and not used. Measure and trend your email processes. Use folders effectively. Identify common folder types for use. Use technology to minimize spam. Regularly review email process and process waste trends. Set aside 2 to 3 specific times at the most for processing email each day. These are 8 simple ways to reduce email waste. First of all, let's look at using folders and distribution lists effectively. Don't use reply all as a matter of habit. Make multiple lists that are project specific and keep your list up to date. Try to organize your email at work in alignment with the strategic objectives you're responsible for example, or the different processes that you own. A lot of people don't know how to set up distribution lists, but it's more often the case that people fail to manage their lists. Next, we want to define when to use email and when not to. Remember, a lot of businesses were successful in the past when email did not exist. I know that times have changed, but there's still cases where picking up the phone or going to see someone are a more effective communication medium to use. A best practice is to define regular types of communication that fall into each category. What are the types of things that we use email for? What are the things we prefer to use phone or face-to-face communication for? Same with virtual. It helps us define the hybrid workplace. Make each subject line specific. When email is the preferred communication avenue, subject lines need to specify the focus of the email and the type of action required. Is a reply expected? Is a fast reply expected? Is this simply an FYI? Measure daily the number of emails sent and received, along with the time spent processing those emails. Again, you don't have to use a stopwatch, but get a ballpark figure for how often these things happen. This can easily be done in a spreadsheet, and given the time and money invested, this could easily be $200, $300 a day. It's a task that all email users should do daily, or at least until most of the email waste is reduced. Next, we want to regularly review our email process and the process waste trends. Consider requiring each leader to trend their key email measures and share them at leadership meetings, along with actions they're taking to reduce email waste. Remember, if you provide them with the data or if they capture the data themselves, usually the feedback from the system is enough to have them change their habits if they feel change is needed. Finally, you may want to specify when emails should be processed each day, time of day and number of times per day. Some experts actually recommend once a day, or once at the start of the day, once at the end of the day. The worst thing we can do is to stop work to respond to an email whenever it comes in. In fact, experts recommend that you turn off that feature. Following these two practices alone is key. The challenge of the time hump. I discovered the time hump over 30 years ago, back when I was a supervisor of 7 different supervisors. Since that point in time, I've seen it play out time and time again. In the chart, you can see what should happen in terms of time spent at work if non-value-added work is eliminated to make time for the new process excellence-focused tasks. If a person invests extra personal time in a wise manner on eliminating non-value-added tasks and work over a period of months, that leader eventually replaces the old non-value-added activities with new value-added activities. In most cases, however, things don't work out this way. One key factor that holds performance improvement efforts back is the fact that we try to always add new tasks to our existing list of leadership tasks, and in essence, do a bigger job. We fail to eliminate existing non-value-added tasks and replace them with the new ones. Over time, we get tired of working overtime and weekends to get the new stuff done along with what we were already doing. We eventually go back to just doing things the same old way. It's a key reason performance improvement efforts die. The new skills are not built into the existing job designs. With any improvement effort, there will be a period of time when you do have to put in extra effort. That's the time hump. You can't make any systems change take root and have an effect overnight. In this example, you can see where this extra effort begins being made on the left side of the chart. It reaches its peak after 2 to 3 months, and it finally subsides 10 to 15 months after the kickoff of the Performance Improvement Initiative. On the right side of the chart, note the significant decrease in the amount of time spent on tasks that once took up 100% of the leader's time. That's what we saw on the left side of the chart. At both the start and the end of the time period shown, the leader is spending an average of 9 hours a day at work. The change lies in the fact that over 1/2 of this time is being spent doing new things once the time period for change has elapsed. Group exercise number 6. Do you have time for improvement? How is time being spent in your organization each day? How much of this time investment is value added? What changes are needed to convert your non-value added time into value added time? And so the point of this exercise is to create a picture of where we're at in terms of time expenditures within the organization now and where we'd like to go. So your leadership team should use a matrix similar to the one provided here to identify the types of time investments you'd like different levels of people in your organization to make. All right, so notice, first of all, we've got 5 different organizational levels. We have a space to project current time use percentages and then desired time use percentages. And then on the column on the left-hand side, we have different types of time investments. All right? So first we define the time frame for the desired time use percentage. So are we looking out 1 year? Are we looking out 2 years? What's our desired time frame? Then we want to reach consensus on the different types of investments we're going to use in our own matrix. We listed 7 different things here. We're going to list the same 7 things. We're going to modify the list a little bit. And then once we've got our investments in place, we want to estimate current time use percent, what percent of the current job is spent on these things, and you may have a lot of zeros. And then how would you like it to change? And even when it changes, you may not have percentages higher than 5 or 10%. It's not uncommon that we only take 10 or 15% of a person's job and shift it around if they're more of an hourly person. It tends to be the higher up we go in the organization, the more we see the job change. So enjoy the exercise, have fun planning for the future. Don't be held back in terms of even creating some different scenarios, and keep improving.